They weren't just blockers, they weren't just receivers. These were hybrids, built like tanks, moved like wideouts, and lived in the soft spots of every defense. They changed games, they changed seasons, and in some cases, they changed the entire position. Let's talk about the tight ends who didn't just play the role, they defined it. 1. Rob Gronkowski. When he stepped on the field, you felt it. Not just because of the size, those 6 feet 6 inches, 265 pounds of mayhem will do that, but because of the energy. Rob Gronkowski played football like it was recess at recess speed. But make no mistake, behind the goofball grin was one of the greatest tight ends to ever strap in. In his prime, Gronk couldn't be covered. Too strong for safeties, too fast for linebackers. He could run seam routes like a wideout, bulldoze in line like a tackle, and spike the ball into the earth like it had insulted his family. He won 4 Super Bowls, made 5 Pro Bowls, and holds the record for most postseason touchdowns by a tight end, 15. He was Tom Brady's favorite weapon for a reason. And when the Patriots needed a play, it was always Gronk. Injuries slowed him down, but they never stopped him because when he was healthy, he was unstoppable. 2. Travis Kelce smooth, slick, surgical. Travis Kelce turned tight end into an art form. While Gronk brought brute force, Kelce brought finesse. He ran routes like a slot receiver, head fakes, hesitation steps, pivot cuts, and always found the hole in the zone. Then he'd turn upfield and dance into the end zone like it was his living room. With Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, Kelce became the brain and the heartbeat of the Chiefs' offense. 8 straight 1,000-yard seasons. No other tight end has done that. 3 Super Bowl rings and counting. And when the play breaks down, Kelce isn't looking for the ball. He's creating the plan. He's not done yet, but even if he retired tomorrow, his name would already be carved into the top tier of NFL tight ends. 3. Tony Gonzalez, the original standard. Before Gronk, before Kelce, before tight ends were even expected to be stars, there was Tony Gonzalez. He didn't just break records, he rewrote what was possible. 15,127 career receiving yards, 1,325 catches, 111 touchdowns, numbers that look like wide receiver totals, because Tony wasn't just a tight end, he was a weapon, and he was durable. The man missed just 2 games in 17 seasons. He did it with the Chiefs, he did it with the Falcons, he did it without ever playing in a Super Bowl, and yet still, he's on every all-time list. His legacy isn't about flash, it's about dominance, longevity, precision. The guy didn't age, he evolved. 4. Antonio Gates. He never played college football, but you'd never guess it watching him dominate Sundays. Antonio Gates, a former basketball star, brought unmatched footwork, body control, and hands to the tight end position. He caught 116 career touchdowns, the most by a tight end in NFL history. 8 Pro Bowls, 3 All-Pro selections, and a decade-long connection with Phillip Rivers that turned third downs into foregone conclusions. Gates didn't just adapt to the game, he elevated it. Effortlessly, consistently, quietly legendary. 5. Mark Bavaro. If you're building a tight end out of concrete and pure willpower, you'd end up with Mark Bavaro. He didn't say much, he didn't need to, his play did all the talking, and it usually ended with a DB being dragged 15 yards downfield. Bavaro was the bruiser of the Giants' late 80s offense. Part blocker, part bouncer, all heart. The moment that defined him, Monday Night Football against the 49ers. He caught a short pass, and instead of going down, he carried 6 defenders on his back. One of the most iconic plays in Giants history, and he made it look like a warm-up drill. 2 Super Bowls, 2 Pro Bowls, infinite bruises for anyone who tried to tackle him solo. Bavaro wasn't flashy, he was relentless. 6 Shannon Sharp confidence. Swagger, speed. Shannon Sharp changed what a tight end could look like. He didn't play like a lineman, he played like a wide receiver trapped in a tight end's body, and he talked like a cornerback after a pick 6. Sharp brought personality and performance to the Broncos, and later, the Ravens, and became a matchup nightmare for anyone trying to keep up. 3 Super Bowl rings, over 10,000 receiving yards, first team All-Pro 4 times, and one unforgettable 96-yard touchdown in the AFC title game that left defenders in the dust. But it wasn't just what he did on the field, it was the attitude. The showmanship, the belief that he was better, and the game couldn't prove him wrong. 7. Jason Witten. He didn't make headlines, he made first downs. Jason Witten was the ultimate professional, dependable, durable, disciplined. While others made flash plays, Witten just kept the chains moving, year after year, catch after catch. He played 17 seasons, almost all of them with the Cowboys, and retired with the second most receptions by a tight end in NFL history. Over 1,200 of them. He wasn't the fastest, he wasn't the flashiest, but he had a knack for sitting down in zones, boxing out defenders, and hauling in the pass. And toughness. He once ran 40 yards without a helmet after it got knocked off mid-play. Blood on his face, ball in his hands. That was Witten. He was never about the highlight, he was about the reliability. And for nearly 2 decades, he was that. 8. Mike Ditka. Before there were hybrid tight ends, before there were route trees and matchup problems, there was Mike Ditka. In 1961, as a rookie, he racked up over 1,000 receiving yards in a run-heavy league that barely looked his way. That was the statement. That was the warning. Ditka wasn't just a blocker who could catch. He was an offensive weapon in a trench warrior's body. He changed what coaches thought a tight end could be. He blocked like a guard, fought like a linebacker, and ran routes like he was late to something important. 5 Pro Bowls, Rookie of the Year, a Super Bowl ring with the Cowboys, and later, another as head coach of the '85 Bears. He paved the road and then drove over it. 9. Dallas Clark. For years, he was Peyton Manning's hidden gem. Dallas Clark didn't get the headlines. Reggie Wayne and Marvin Harrison did, but inside the hash marks, Clark was a technician, slippery, savvy, and surprisingly fast. He wasn't built like a classic tight end. He didn't need to be. He lined up everywhere. Slot, out wide, in motion, and did damage from all of it. In 2009, he posted over 1,100 yards and 10 touchdowns, earning first-team All-Pro and proving he wasn't just a role player. He was a weapon in disguise. In Super Bowl 41, he was the X factor. His route running opened up Indy's offense, giving Manning just enough firepower to break through. He was quiet, but his game spoke volumes. 10. Greg Olsen. If consistency had a face, it might have worn number 88 in Carolina. Greg Olsen was the model of dependability, reliable hands, sharp roots, and the trust of every quarterback he played with. And for Cam Newton, he was more than a safety valve. He was a lifeline. Olsen was the first tight end in NFL history to post 3 consecutive 1,000-yard seasons. That's not just good, it's elite. He ran his routes like a wide receiver, took hits like a fullback, and showed up when it mattered most. NFC championships, Super Bowl 50, big stages, bigger catches, and off the field, he was just as impactful, a respected leader, a broadcaster in the making, and a fan favorite who aged with class. 11. Jimmy Graham. He didn't look like a tight end, he looked like a power forward, because he was one. Jimmy Graham brought basketball skills to the red zone, and defenders had no answer. He boxed them out, he high-pointed balls, he made touchdown grabs look like alley-oops. In his prime with the Saints, he was a cheat code. In 2013, he had 1,215 yards and 16 touchdowns, and that was before teams really knew how to use tight ends as primary weapons. Drew Brees trusted him like a WR1, and for good reason. The NFL even had to rewrite celebration rules because Graham kept dunking on goalposts. Injuries slowed him. The fit never clicked quite the same in Seattle or Chicago, but his peak, terrifying and unforgettable. 12th, Zach Ertz didn't make many highlight reels. He just made the right play over and over again. From 2013 to 2020, he was the heartbeat of the Eagles' passing attack. A tight end with hands like a receiver and the mind of a quarterback. In 2018, he set the single-season record for most catches by a tight end, 116. That wasn't a stat, that was a statement. And then came Super Bowl 52. With the season and the city's hope hanging in the balance, Ertz ran a perfect route, caught the ball over the middle, powered through a hit, and scored. It was the game winner. It was the moment. He was a tactician, a closer, and in Philly, he'll never buy a drink again. 13. Jeremy Shockey. He played the position with a chip on his shoulder, and sometimes on yours. Jeremy Shockey was fire, a flashpoint of emotion, attitude, and physicality. He made his name in New York with fearless catches, loud celebrations, and a refusal to back down from anyone. Defenders hated covering him, teammates loved having him, and fans, they couldn't take their eyes off him. He made 4 Pro Bowls, won 2 Super Bowls, one with the Giants, one with the Saints. But it was never about stats with Shockey. It was about edge. He made tight end cool, violent, swagger heavy, necessary, and even when the injuries piled up, the impact stayed. Because when you needed someone to start a fire, Shockey brought gasoline. These 13 players weren't just role players, they were difference makers. Each brought something different to the table. Power, grace, swagger, precision. Some broke records, some broke defenders, some broke expectations wide open, but they all left their mark.